Happy New Year, everyone, and of course, that has got to start with a new computer setup video. And this has changed a lot if you watched the previous one a year ago. And well, this time I will say all specifications because some people will did not look at the description and just used to spam me what are the specs of this and what are the specs of that. Well, I will just say it now, and again, if that is too long, you wanted it like that. So this is my old desk, a very small desk, and not a very high desk. I don't like that all that much. And on here you can see this computer. No, not the iMac G3, the one on the right. And yes, I forgot to say, these computers are, well, the computers actually use all the time. And not including my vintage Macs, that would just take too long. So here's the computer that has been a laptop. It's a Fujitsu Siemens, a very crappy laptop, V5535, and well, it's hooked up to this 15-inch Dell LED monitor, and with this keyboard here and mouse. And this is rocking a single core, 1.86 gigahertz, I believe. I'm not too sure about that, but it's not. It's less than 2 gigahertz. That's all I know. Intel Celeron with 1.5 gigs of RAM. And it's running Windows XP, and all I do in this is well stuff that does not require a high-end processor. Like writing documents. I also do my most schoolwork on this because well, it's Windows and it talks to FTPs a lot easier than it does on Mac. And but it's mostly lightweight stuff, and I don't do all that much. This monitor is also being used with all Matter desktops as well, so it's not only this computer here. You see here is my Canon, well, printer. I don't really use that all that much, but it's a nice printer. I use it more as a scanner than a printer, but well, it's a nice printer. And here you can see my secondary computer. That is a PC, Dell Westro 3750. It has a 2.4 gigahertz quad-core i5 processor, Sandy Bridge. It's built in 2011, and yeah, I run Windows 7 and Ubuntu 13.10 on it. I use that for everything, pretty much, well, the same as I do on my main machine, just not video editing and photo editing, because this is not has not as good graphic card as the other one has, and also because it doesn't run Mac OS 10. So, well, that's the reason. But other than that, I do also have on this a lot of iTunes songs and stuff like that. I imported that from my iMac G3 Indigo. And, this does also stream some movies to, the whole house from the iTunes library. So, that's very nice, and yeah, I also use it for a lot of other stuff like LAN party when someone's over, and we hook up the iMac in this one, we a LAN, and then we can play whatever Garry's Mod or Half-Life 2 Deathmatch or Call of Duty or something like that. So it's definitely just a second main machine, if it makes any sense. I also use that if my main machine is occupied with rendering and exporting stuff like that, or ripping DVDs, then I use that. So yeah, that's the Dell Vostro. I would love to have the same spec computer as a desktop, but well, it can't have everything. And so yeah, I get this for a very, very good deal, and that's definitely was worth getting that thing. It's a 17-inch screen if you want to know, a pretty big laptop. Alright, and over here on my main desk, you can see, before I show you my main computer, this laptop, that is my everyday use laptop. I use that pretty much everywhere, just not here. Or when I'm in bed and I necessarily need a computer, then I will use this. That is my PowerBook G4 15-inch. And yes, I will answer that question with a yes. I would like to replace this, or I would like that Dell to be in that size because it's a lot more powerful. But you can't have everything, and I do use that in school because it's smaller than the Dell, a lot lighter than the Dell, and well, it supports the software I need, like text Wrangler, NetBeans, and stuff like that, LibreOffice. It's just a working machine, office machine. And that is, well, I would like to replace this, but I can't at the moment, but it works. And I don't have the money to spend on another computer right now, and it would just be a waste. And so I use that until I really cannot use it anymore. And if I really, really need an Intel processor, I'll just put this big Dell in the pocket and, well, use that. But as long as this is working, I will use that. So this is having a 1.5 gigahertz, also single core PowerPC G4 processor. It's running 10.5 Leopard with a gigabyte of RAM, which runs very nicely. And it's got an 80 gig 7200 RPM hard drive, and it's also dual booted with Linux Ubuntu 12.04. And yeah, I don't use that as a main system because it's slow and stuff. But if we're trying around and playing around with Linux, I do use Linux on here as well. And this is by far my favorite laptop because it's just so reliable and so awesome. And I've used that now for a long time. Alright, and here is my main machine. You can see me in there. This is my 2010 iMac, and I cannot believe that this is already almost 4 years old, because it's not, well, feeling like it was that old. It's, you would say this is a slow computer, but I cannot agree. This is the best computer I've ever had in my life. This was the maxed out 2010 iMac, so the best one you could get. It's having a 3.2 gigahertz NeoM Intel Core i7, so the first generation, 8 gigabytes of RAM, and internal 1 terabyte hard drive, which I like to use as, well, less as I can, and just put, things on there that are not so important and, well, that are, not slowing it down unnecessarily. And it's hooked up to this Samsung 24-inch monitor. I believe that is an SyncMaster SA300. It's an IPS panel, very nice, but it's not as good as the Intel iMac monitor. Obviously, it's a lot nicer monitor, but, well, I don't need high-end monitor just for an external one. And all I do in this is, well, sorting out photos and doing iTunes or Twitter or something like that, or watching a movie while I'm doing something on this here. And yeah, again, it's just a secondary display. And also, if someone's over and well, needs a fix and he's got a desktop, I hook it up to this one, or well, I hook up other computers to this one as well, like the PowerBook. This has also got a DVI and HDMI next to the VGA output, so I didn't use the DVI all that much, but the HDMI is just so awesome. And this is also a very nice monitor for the freaking price. Even though it's not such a good build quality, it's well, a very cheap and good monitor, and I like it. And yes, if you're asking, this is standing on the books. As a keyboard, I'm using an Apple Pro keyboard from 1999. So I've used an aluminum keyboard since I got this Mac, and this is very worn out. Obviously, it's now 3 years old. It's also missing a key, and it's very damaged and worn out. And these things cost like 50 bucks. And I don't want to spend another 50 bucks as long as I have, well, some Apple keyboards laying around. I've got 5 Apple keyboards in total now. And, well, if this is not breaking or the other ones are not breaking, I'm going to use them. Because 50 bucks is a lot of money. And this is a good keyboard as well. Even though it's old, I mean, it's USB, that's all I need. And I've got enough USBs anyway on here, so I don't care about the USB 1 on that. This is an 8-port USB hub. I had that the last time anyway. And as a mouse, I'm using a Microsoft mouse. You will never see me using an Apple mouse, except it's like a vintage Mac demo, because I hate Apple mice for the life of me. All I need is a right click and a wheel. That's not there on Apple mice, and that's why I hate them so much. And on here, this dog can see my old iPhone 4, which is, well, my old phone, and an iPod Touch 4th generation. And my crappy M Spyro calculator, which is like 4 times of the size, but has got the power of like, I would say 10% of these easily, because it's so shit. Well, whatever. Just for the light, this is just my new file server. It's not running at the moment because it's gotten more into an external hard drive that, well, backs up some important information and data and old videos and stuff like that well, I don't want to lose. And it's got now it's my custom built Pentium 4 computer just with a new hard drives. It's what is it, 2.66 gigahertz Pentium 4 Northwood with 1.5 gigs of RAM again. Got a lot of computers with 1.5 gigs of RAM or 1 gigs of RAM. 1 gigs, yeah, sure, 1 gigabyte. This had, when I showed you, an 80 gig hard drive. It still has that, but it's got 2 500 gig hard drives in there as well. SATA hard drives, so not IDE. And, well, I don't have a terabyte, so I've got one primary hard drive, and the other one is just for backup, and that's running nicely on Linux. On Ubuntu, it easily backs up the whole hard drive that I want it to back up. And the 80 gig is just for booting the operating system and, you know, nothing more. So it's just not on at the moment. You can't see any kind of cable because everything is going over there, but if you're here, you're gonna see a lot of cables, as you can see here. So that's about the file server. It's just, you know, an old PC which works a lot better than the PowerMac G4 because it actually talks to, well, Snow Leopard and Lion and everything, not just limited operating systems. See my great work on external hard drives. The white one, which is Samsung 500 gig, I used to also talk to Windows. Then the one you can't almost see is that one. That's a 1.5 terabyte, which I got a lot of operating system images on there, and also my iPhoto library. And on the big one, on the Chili Green, that's a 2 terabyte hard drive, which has my iTunes library, and also does a time machine backup of the iMac internal hard disk. And all that is actually being, just, you know, getting to work with a crappy USB hub, and believe it or not, this is all with USB. So no FireWire, no Thunderbolt, nothing, just a classic USB. I forgot to say that, of course, as you can maybe tell by the wallpapers, this is indeed running Snow Leopard, no Mavericks, no Lion, no Mountain Lion, nothing. It's running Snow Leopard, so if you want to know that. So this has been my little setup video. Hope you enjoyed it. And, well, please subscribe and like this video, and I will see you in the next one.